This is Charlie Kimbell, and I'm the state representative representing Woodstock, Reading, and Plymouth. And this is an update to the legislative session of 2025. As we're in the middle of the legislative session, one question that keeps coming up is who pays? This is one of the central questions in government. Not only what services should we be providing to different citizens, but who pays for it? In one concept, only the user should pay for the services that they get. If you think about someone going to a restaurant, certainly the person who's eating should pay for the food that they're getting. Another concept is, well, everybody has to eat, and so all people should pay for the food that that person is receiving. It's really important when we talk about things such as schools. Certainly, if we left it only to the parents of children who are attending school, it would be incredibly expensive to educate those students. And we've made it that it's a public good for students to be educated and contribute to the community, not only for their own betterment, but for the betterment of communities. So it's a public good that then we should all pay into and support. So there's widespread support of everyone contributing to paying for education. Recently, I was speaking with some people at a Chamber of Commerce, and there was a great interest in having second homeowners pay more than primary homeowners in their property taxes to pay for education. On one hand, that makes sense. Perhaps the second homeowners have a greater ability to pay than do primary homeowners. But are they using the services that are being provided to the public? One might say they're not. They're not using the services to the same degree, whether it's education, whether it's maintenance of the roads or other things. And that primary homeowners should be paying more. And that's where we're constantly balancing as to who should be paying either more or less than someone else. If you look at a concept of progressive taxes or regressive taxes, a progressive tax means that the lower your income, the lower amount of taxes you should be paying as a percentage of your income. So one example of looking at a progressive tax, if we talk about our education property taxes, and in some ways, property is an extension of wealth. And if someone has a house, that is considered an asset. If that asset is worth more money, then it could be considered to be a greater asset or worth more. It's an extension or an expression of how much wealth that person has. But sometimes someone may have their property increase in value because of market conditions, and they didn't do anything to actually impact the value of their home. So at that point, it looks like they have a lot more wealth based on the value of their property. So when you have a system that taxes property at its current value, it may be that your taxes are increasing above somebody's ability to pay because their income has not kept pace with the increase in the value of the property. So Vermont, in an effort to make our property tax system progressive, created the property tax credit. And the property tax credit costs the state about $153 million a year. And it's a complicated system, but basically it provides a way for those individuals or households earning less than $90,000 to get a substantial break on their property taxes on the first $400,000 of the value of their property. And then that benefit phases out over the next, say, $20,000 in income or $30,000, and then there's nothing when you're above the $115,000. That's what the estimates are for this year. So it's an interesting example. In Vermont, our system is fairly progressive, and the people that are making between $0 and, say, $200,000 are on a pretty equal level as to what percentage of their income they're paying for real estate taxes. When it gets above that, then the percentage of their income that they're paying for real estate taxes actually drops. And so at that point, you would say it's not progressive anymore because that person is paying a lesser percentage of their income. It might be a much bigger property tax bill, but they're not paying the same percentage. So it depends on how you look at that and what you think about it, but that is one example of a progressive tax. or a progressive tax adjustment that's applied to a fairly flat tax that everyone needs to pay who owns a property. A regressive tax is such that everyone pays the same percentage for the services, like a sales tax. So if you pay 6% for a sales and use tax on a particular good, then that's going to be the same amount of money paid by two people. One has the ability to pay a lot, and one person has the ability to pay less. So it's a regressive tax because it is more impactful for the person with lower income. So if we think about the concept of taxes as those who have the ability to pay are the ones who should be paying, and those that do not have the ability to pay should be paying less, then that is a system of progressive taxes, no matter what the sources of income are, and no matter who's using those particular services. So that's the kind of question in the legislature we're dealing with right now, in terms of education, in terms of income taxes, and what the services are, and who pays for them. So it's just something to keep in mind as you're thinking about legislative issues, whether it's fair that somebody's paying fewer taxes, somebody's paying more, and what you want to see accomplished. It's not always an easy answer, and it's something that we struggle with all the time to figure out who it is that should be paying taxes to support the services that we all benefit from. Just a little thought, and hopefully it's helpful as you're observing what's going on in the legislature to think about who should pay. This is an update from Charlie Kimbell. Thank you very much.